You know the big guns of the DC universe. Superman, the guy who can't be moved. Batman, the strategist who's always 10 steps ahead. Wonder Woman, the warrior who goes toe-to-toe with literal gods. They're the icons, the legends, the faces on lunchboxes and movie posters all over the world. But what if I told you that lurking in the shadows of the comic book pages, hidden in the deep archives of DC's 80-plus-year history, are heroes so powerful they could rewrite reality, bend the laws of physics, or command armies of the dead? And yet, you've probably never even heard their names. Today, we're not talking about the Justice League's starting lineup. No, we're going deep. We are peeling back the layers of mainstream comics and diving headfirst into the weird, the forgotten, and the shockingly overpowered. These are the characters who, for one reason or another, missed their shot at the big time, but have abilities that could make even the Man of Steel sweat. From mystical power thieves to reality-warping pranksters, we're counting down the 10 most incredibly powerful DC superheroes you probably don't know. Get ready to have your whole idea of the DC power scale turned upside down. Let's get into it. Section 10. Black Alice, Lori Zeklin. Coming in at number 10 is a character with one of the most terrifying and versatile power sets in the entire DC universe. Black Alice. Her real name is Lori Zeklin, and she's not your typical hero. She's a Gothic teenager from Dayton, Ohio, whose life was shattered by tragedy. Lori's mother, secretly battling a prescription drug addiction, took her own life, an event Lori discovered herself. This trauma triggered a terrifying and unpredictable metahuman ability, the power to steal magic. Now, let's be crystal clear about what this means. Black Alice doesn't just copy powers. She steals them. She can target any magical being, from street-level sorcerers to cosmic entities, and for a little while, she takes their entire magical arsenal, leaving her target completely powerless. Just think about that. She can look at Dr. Fate, one of the most powerful sorcerers alive, and just take his powers, leaving him a normal guy in a fancy helmet. She's stolen abilities from Zatanna, Etrigan the Demon, Blue Devil, and more. When she does it, her own Gothic clothes even morph into a dark version of her victim's costume, a creepy visual of the immense power she's just hijacked. Her power is as massive as it is unstable. The scale of her ability is almost limitless. During one major crisis, she managed to borrow the powers of Alan Scott, the Golden Age Green Lantern, even while he was off-planet in deep space. But her most jaw-dropping feat, the one that really cements her place on this list, happened during the Day of Vengeance storyline. The Spectre, the literal spirit of God's vengeance, was on a rampage, tearing the magical world apart. In a moment of pure audacity, Black Alice stole a portion of the Spectre's power. For a brief, terrifying moment, a teenage girl from Ohio wielded a sliver of that divine wrath, helping to hurl the villain Eclipso into a solar orbit. So why is she so obscure? A big part of it is her crippling lack of control. She doesn't gain the knowledge or the skill of the people she borrows from. When she took Raven's healing powers to try and cure her father, she accidentally gave him cancer because she didn't know how to use them properly. The more powerful the magic she steals, the harder it is for her to handle, making her a huge danger to herself and everyone around her. This tragic mix of godlike potential and teenage instability makes her a character who is way too volatile for the Justice League, but far too powerful to ever ignore. Section 9. Deadman, Boston Brand. Next up, at number 9, we have a hero who operates on a totally different plane of existence. A true ghost in the DC Universe's machine, Deadman. Before he died, he was Boston Brand, a world-class trapeze artist with a flair for the dramatic. His life was cut short mid-performance by an assassin known only as the Hook. But instead of moving on, Brand's spirit was stopped by a Hindu goddess named Ramakrishna. She gave him a new purpose: to walk the earth as a ghost, find his own killer, and bring balance to the world. Deadman's power isn't about brute strength. It's about unmatched infiltration. As a ghost, he's completely intangible and invisible. He can pass through walls, watch any event without being seen, and travel anywhere on Earth in the blink of an eye. But his signature ability, and what makes him so potent, is possession. Deadman can jump into the body of any living being, from a random person on the street to a supervillain, or even someone like Batman. When he takes control, he has full access to their body, their voice, and their physical abilities. He could make a hardened criminal confess their crimes, force a dictator to sign a peace treaty, or even use a hero's own powers against their enemies. Imagine the possibilities. He could possess a general and call off an army. He could possess a scientist and leak a world-saving formula. He could possess the Joker and just make him sit quietly in a corner. This power makes him one of the best spies and saboteurs in the world. He's not just gathering intel. He can directly manipulate events from the inside without anyone ever knowing he was there. His work is often crucial in the supernatural side of the DCU, where he's a key member of teams like Justice League Dark. So why isn't Boston Brand a household name? His obscurity is built into his powers. By definition, he works from the shadows. When he succeeds, the person he possessed gets all the credit or the blame. He's the ultimate unsung hero, a whisper in the ear that changes the course of a person's life. Plus, his stories are often deeply personal and rooted in the occult, which keeps him away from the bright, colorful mainstream. He can't punch a meteor out of the sky, but he could possess the guy who launched it and have him divert it himself. His power is subtle, sneaky, and in its own way, almost limitless. Section 8. Ragman, Rory Regan, coming in at number 8, is a character who literally wears his power. Ragman, the mystical vigilante of Gotham City. His real name is Rory Regan, a man with origins in tragedy and ancient Jewish folklore. In his most famous story, Rory worked at his father's pawn shop, Rags and Tatters. After his father and some friends found a mattress stuffed with cash, they were brutally murdered by criminals trying to steal it. Rory arrived just in time to get caught in an electrical blast that knocked him out. When he woke up, he had mysteriously absorbed the skills and strengths of his father and his dead friends. He made a costume from old rags his dad had lying around and became the Ragman. But this is where the story gets really powerful and weird. Later on, the writers gave his costume a much deeper, more terrifying origin. It wasn't just a costume. It was the mystical suit of souls. This suit dates back to 16th century Prague and is tied to the legend of the golem. It's a living artifact that can absorb the souls of evildoers. Every time Ragman defeats a corrupt person, their soul gets trapped in the suit, adding a new patch to its design. And this isn't just for looks. By absorbing these souls, Ragman gets their strength, knowledge, and abilities. If he absorbs the soul of a strong man, he gets their might. If he absorbs a master acrobat, he gets their agility. The suit is a collection of damned souls that he can command. He once claimed to have used the power of over 100 souls at once. The suit can even protect him by absorbing bullets and punches, and it can teleport him where he's needed most, acting like a mystical alarm system for evil. The power of Ragman is the power of a legion. The more evil he fights, the stronger he gets. But this power comes at a terrible price. Rory has to constantly fight for control over a chorus of angry voices in his head. If his will slips, the evil souls could overwhelm him and turn him into a monster. This internal struggle is what makes him so compelling, but it's also part of what keeps him obscure. He's a street-level hero in Gotham's alleys, but his power source is cosmic and terrifying. He walks a razor's edge between hero and horror, a walking prison for the damned, fighting his own costume for his very soul. Section 7. Metamorpho, Rex Mason. At number 7, we have one of the weirdest, most unique, and tragically powerful heroes in DC's lineup. Metamorpho, the Element Man. Before his transformation, he was Rex Mason, a dashing adventurer and fortune hunter. Think Indiana Jones, but working for corporations. He was hired by the rich industrialist Simon Stagg to retrieve a rare Egyptian artifact, the Orb of Ra. But Stagg was jealous of the romance between Rex and his daughter, Sapphire. In a classic bad guy move, Stagg had his goon Java knock Rex out and leave him for dead inside a pyramid, exposed to the radiation of the meteorite the orb was carved from. Rex didn't die. Instead, the radiation rewrote his DNA, turning him into a metamorph. He came out of the tomb as a bizarre, patchwork creature, his body split into sections of different substances. But with this grotesque new form came an incredible power. Rex Mason can transmute his body into any element or combination of elements found on the periodic table. Let that sink in. He's called the Element Man for a reason. He can turn his hand into a solid iron hammer, his legs into a titanium spring, or his whole body into a cloud of poisonous gas. He can become liquid nitrogen to freeze someone, hydrofluoric acid to melt through a vault, or a tungsten shield to withstand the blast. He can stretch and reshape his body at will, making him basically immune to most physical harm. He's a walking, talking Swiss Army knife of chemical possibilities, and he instinctively knows exactly which elements to use for any situation. So why isn't this powerhouse a household name? A lot of it is his look and his attitude. He hates his condition. He thinks he looks like a freak, and for years his main goal was finding a cure, not being a hero. He's often grumpy, sarcastic, and resentful of his powers, which isn't the most inspiring personality. On top of that, his powers are just weird. They're body horror mixed with high-level science, which is a tough sell compared to just flying or having super strength. He was a founding member of the Outsiders and has been in the Justice League, but he is always the odd man out, a freak who can save the world but can't look normal doing it. Section 6. Ambush Bug, Erwin Schwab. Alright, get ready to get weird, because our number 6 pick doesn't just bend the rules of physics. He shatters the reality of his own world. We're talking about the one and only Ambush Bug, possibly named Erwin Schwab. He started out as a villain, a comedic bad guy for Superman. Dressed in a green suit with orange antennae, his main power at first was teleportation. But that simple description doesn't even begin to scratch the surface. Ambush Bug's real power is that he knows he's a character in a comic book. And this isn't just a wink to the audience. It's his whole deal. He breaks the fourth wall so hard, there's no wall left. He talks directly to readers, argues with his writers and editors in the middle of a story, and knows all about comic book tropes, sales figures, and DC's company decisions. This awareness gives him a kind of reality manipulation that is as powerful as it is ridiculous. He can literally jump between comic panels, use his own word balloons as platforms, and complain about where a story is going. In one of his own comics, he was even taken to court by DC Comics itself and temporarily kicked out of continuity. This meta-awareness makes him almost impossible to beat in a normal fight. How do you fight someone who knows they in a story and can just refuse to follow the script? His insanity is his greatest weapon. He's not bound by the same logic as other characters. While Superman has to follow the physics of his universe, Ambush Bug is only bound by the whim of the writer, a fact he loves to point out and exploit. His teleportation also became basically limitless, letting him pop up anywhere in the DC universe, or even outside of it, usually with his trusty sidekick, a stuffed doll named Cheeks the Toy Wonder. So yeah, it's pretty obvious why he's not a household name. He is, by design, a joke character. His stories are surreal, nonsensical, and make fun of the comic book industry itself. He's too silly for a serious event like a crisis, but his powers are, in their own way, more godlike than many cosmic beings. Darkseid wants to control reality. Ambushbug knows it's all just ink on a page. And that's a power that is truly, bizarrely, and incredibly formidable. We're halfway through our list, and the powers are only getting more insane from here. If you're digging this deep dive into DC's Forgotten Titans, do us a favor and smash that like button. And if you haven't already, subscribe and ring that notification bell so you don't miss out on more explorations of comic book lore. It really helps the channel out. Now, let's get back to the countdown with our top 5. Section 5. Dr. Occult, Richard Occult. Kicking off our top 5, we go way back. Before Superman, before Batman, there was Dr. Occult. First appearing in New Fun Comics number 6 in 1935, Dr. Occult holds the distinction of being one of DC Comics' absolute earliest recurring characters. He was created by none other than Jerry Siegel and Joe Shuster, the same guys who would later give us the Man of Steel. So who is this ghost detective? Dr. Richard Occult is a private investigator who specializes in the supernatural. Think of him as the original John Constantine, but from the pulp detective era. He and his partner, Rose Psychic, were trained as kids by a mysterious group of mystics known as the Seven. This training unlocked his natural magic, turning him into a powerful sorcerer. His main tool is a talisman called the Mystic Symbol of the Seven, which gives him a ton of magical abilities. Dr. Occult's power set is vast, and especially back in the day, was whatever the plot needed it to be. He's an expert in all things occult, with powers of hypnotism, illusion, astral projection, and telekinesis. He can exorcise demons, talk to the dead, and create powerful force fields. But his abilities go way beyond that. He's shown high-level magic, like controlling elements, transmuting matter, and even manipulating time. He is, without a doubt, a top-tier magic user, right up there with the most famous sorcerers in the DCU, and has stood alongside powerhouses like the Phantom Stranger and Zatanna as a sentinel of magic. Given that he's one of DC's first heroes, why is he so obscure? Part of it is that he was quickly overshadowed. Just a few years after he was created, Siegel and Shuster created Superman, and the whole comic book world shifted to colorful, costumed strongmen. The noir-style occult detective just fell out of fashion. For decades, he was mostly forgotten, only to be brought back in the modern age by writers like Neil Gaiman, who made him a guide for a new generation of magic users. He's a character more important for his history than for his current adventures. But the fact remains that at the dawn of the DC universe, there was a hero fighting vampires and werewolves with a mastery of magic that could rival almost anyone. Section 4. Kid Eternity. At number 4 is a character with a deceptively simple name and a cosmically overpowered ability. Kid Eternity. Originally a Quality Comics character from 1942, Kid Eternity was a nameless boy killed when a Juran U-boat sank his grandpa's boat in World War II. But when he got to the afterlife, they realized a mistake had been made. He was supposed to die, but 75 years too soon. To fix this cosmic clerical error, he was sent back to Earth with a mission to do good and a truly spectacular power. By saying the word eternity, the kid can summon any good historical or mythological figure or even an animal to help him. Let's really break down what that means. Now, whether he is pulling their actual spirits from the beyond or just creating magical copies is up for debate, depending on who is writing the story. But either way, he can call on pretty much anyone. He can summon Hercules for strength, Merlin for magic, or Sun Tzu for strategy. The only limit is that the figure must be good, but that's been interpreted very broadly. He's not just limited to real people. He can summon characters from literature or mythology. This gives Kid Eternity access to every skill, every strength, and every piece of knowledge from every great figure in history and myth. He's not one hero. He's a potential army of every hero who has ever lived or been imagined. Need to defuse a bomb? Summon Albert Einstein. Need to win a sword fight? Summon a legion of samurai. On top of all that, the magic word also gives him ghostly powers like invisibility, intangibility, and flight. So, with a power this boundless, why is he virtually unknown? His obscurity is tied to what made him popular in the 1940s. The whole concept is a bit campy by modern standards. Later writers, like Grant Morrison, tried to give him a darker, more complex origin, suggesting the figures he summoned were actually demons in disguise. This made him more interesting, but also more complicated. Plus, the power itself is indirect. He's not the powerhouse. He's the one who calls them. He's been a member of the Teen Titans, but he often feels like a puzzle piece that doesn't quite fit. Still, the raw potential of his ability is undeniable. A hero who can call upon all of history's and mythology's greatest champions is, by any measure, one of the most powerful beings you can imagine. Section 3. Triumph cracking our top 3 is a hero whose power is matched only by the tragedy of his existence. His name is Triumph, and he was supposed to be one of DC's greatest heroes, a founding member of the original Justice League. His story is one of cosmic bad luck. On the day the Justice League first formed to fight Starro the Conqueror, Triumph, real name William McIntyre, was right there with them. He was the one who led the charge and came up with the winning plan. But at the moment of victory, he was accidentally thrown into a dimensional void, out of sync with reality. The cruelest twist? As he disappeared, so did all memory of him. History rewrote itself. To the world, and even to the Justice League, it was as if Triumph had never existed. The record showed Superman, Batman, Wonder Woman, Flash, Green Lantern, Aquaman, and Martian Manhunter as the founders. Triumph was completely forgotten. He spent decades trapped in limbo, a silent ghost watching the world he helped save move on without him. When he finally returned, he was a man out of time, bitter and angry, demanding the respect he was denied. But what about his powers? Triumph was meant to be on the same level as the League's heaviest hitters. He has super strength and invulnerability that let him go toe-to-toe with Superman. He's got enhanced speed, though not Flash level. But his main and most formidable power is his ability to manipulate the electromagnetic spectrum. This gives him a huge range of abilities. He can shoot energy blasts, create force fields, control magnetism, and even see and manipulate energy at a subatomic level. He basically has the powers of Magneto combined with a big chunk of Superman's physical might. His obscurity is the entire point of his character. He is the forgotten hero. His arrogance and bitterness made him hard for the other heroes to accept, and he made some bad choices, even briefly teaming up with the demon Naren for the glory he felt he was owed. He was a hero defined by his own erasure, a walking, talking retcon. His story is a meta-commentary on comic book continuity itself. He ultimately sacrificed himself to save the Earth, finally getting the heroic end he always deserved. But he remains a tragic footnote, the greatest hero you've never heard of, because the universe itself made you forget. Section 2. Hourman Matthew Rex Tyler. Coming in at number 2 is a true pillar of DC's golden age, and a founding member of the Justice Society of America. Hourman. His name was Rex Tyler, a brilliant biochemist who, in 1940, developed a new vitamin he called Miraclo. Testing it on himself, he discovered that for exactly 1 hour, the pill gave him a suite of superpowers: superhuman strength, speed, stamina, and some invulnerability. He put on a simple black and yellow costume and became Hourman, the man of the hour, fighting crime for a 60-minute window of power. On the surface, this might not sound as impressive as our other entries. A hero who's only super for an hour? But the raw power Miraclo gave him was immense. He was a true heavy hitter of the Golden Age, a brawler who could smash through walls and take on crowds of enemies. But the true depth of his character, and the source of his profound power, lies in the dark side of Miraclo. Over time, it was revealed that Rex Tyler wasn't just a hero. He was an addict. He became addicted not just to the drug itself, but to the thrill of being a hero that it gave him. This storyline was incredibly ahead of its time. In an era of perfect, infallible heroes, Hourman was a man battling a very real, very human demon. His personality would shift when he used the drug. He became agitated and anxious, always chasing the next high, the next hour of power. His addiction cost him dearly, straining his relationship with his son, Rick, and leading him down a path of self-destruction. This struggle makes him one of the most compelling characters of his era, but it is also a key reason for his relative obscurity compared to teammates like Flash or Green Lantern. His story was dark, psychological, and didn't fit the simple mold of good versus evil. Rex Tyler is powerful, not just for the strength Miraclo gave him, but for the story he told. A story of human weakness, the cost of heroism, and the struggle for redemption. Section 1. Atom Smasher, Albert Rothstein. And now, our number one most incredibly powerful DC superhero you probably don't know. Atom Smasher. Albert Rothstein is the perfect mix of legacy, power, and moral complexity, all rolled into one giant figure. First appearing as Nucklin in 1983, he's the godson of Al Pratt, the original Golden Age Atom. But his powers come from a darker place. His grandfather was the reluctant supervillain Cyclotron, and Albert inherited his grandfather's ability to control his own molecular structure. This power lets him manipulate his size and mass. While he can technically alter his whole structure, his go-to move, and his most famous one, is to grow. And grow, and grow. He can increase his size to towering height 60 feet is comfortable for him, but he's pushed himself far beyond that. Critically, as his size increases, his strength and durability shoot up proportionally. This isn't just a visual trick. He becomes a legitimate giant-sized powerhouse, capable of trading blows with DC's strongest characters. He's been a core member of the Justice Society of America, serving as the team's premier heavy hitter. What makes Atom Smasher so compelling, and our number one pick, is the mix of his immense physical power and his deeply conflicted character. Albert is a man who walks a very gray moral line. His defining story involves his intense friendship with Black Adam. Seeing the good in the ruthless ruler of Kondak, Atom Smasher actually quit the JSA and joined Black Adam, believing his friend's brutal methods were a more effective form of justice. He fought against his former friends, all in the name of a different kind of justice. This gave him a depth that few lesser-known characters ever get. So, with this incredible power and complex character arc, why is he still relatively unknown? Despite a live-action appearance in the film Black Adam, he remains a fan-favorite character for comic readers rather than a household name. His original identity as Nucklin, complete with a mohawk, was very 80s and hasn't aged that well. Plus, his most important stories happened in the pages of JSA, a title loved by hardcore fans, but not always at the front of DC's publishing line. He represents the pinnacle of what this list is about, a hero with A-list power, a rich and complicated backstory, and deep ties to the DC universe, who has nevertheless stayed just outside the spotlight. He can grow to the size of a skyscraper and punch a god, but he also struggles with his family's legacy and his own questionable choices. He is the ultimate underrated powerhouse, a giant in every sense of the word, and our number one pick. Conclusion. So there you have it. 10 heroes from the massive DC universe who are packing some serious power, all while flying way under the mainstream radar. From the soul-stealing Ragman to the reality-aware ambush bug and the forgotten founder Triumph, it's as clear there is more power in the DCU than just the familiar faces of the Justice League. But this is just our list. The DC archives are deep, and there are tons of other heroes who could have made the cut. What about honorable mentions? Characters like Adam Strange, the human hero of the planet Ran, Firestorm, the nuclear man who can transmute matter, or the many versions of Starman, wielding cosmic power. Now we want to hear from you. Who did we miss? Which obscure but powerful hero do you think deserves a spot on this list? Let us know down in the comments below. We read every single one. And if you enjoyed this journey into the forgotten corners of comic book history, please give this video a like and make sure you resubscribe to the channel for more deep dives into your favorite universes. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.